Hey Divi Nation, thank you for joining us in this live stream. Today we'll take a look at a rotated global header and how to create it with Divi. We'll also use the magazine layout pack. So if you haven't checked that out yet, make sure that you do. I've mentioned a link in the description below. And if you're not an Elegant Themes member yet, make sure that you check out Divi. I've mentioned a link to the product page where you can go ahead and discover everything for yourself. So without any further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so let's start off by taking a quick look at the magazine layout pack. So if you want to lay your hands on it, you can go to elegantthemes.com/layouts. Over here, we have all of the free layout packs that come with Divi. So if you scroll down, you'll come across the magazine layout pack. We have it over here. On the right side, you can notice all of the different layouts that come with this layout pack. You can view the live demo by clicking on the blue button. So the rotated global header that we'll create within this live stream tutorial matches this layout pack really well, but you can use it for other websites too. So you can definitely tweak around the different settings and make it match with the look and feel of your website. So let's take a quick look at the outcome. And over here we have the outcome. So you can notice this on the side over here, and it follows you while you scroll down your page. And you can basically use this anywhere you want. You can assign it to all of your pages only. You can assign it to your entire website. We'll make it a global header. And let me just show you the outcome on smaller screen sizes as well. So on smaller screen sizes, we have a nice alternative. If I click this, my drop-down menu will open. I have the social media icons at the right side. And then over here on desktop, I have this transformed, kind of rotated menu where the items are placed on the left, and you can navigate to your website that way. All right, so let's get started with it. If you guys have, by the way, any questions, make sure that you leave comments in the comment section on Facebook or on YouTube. I will occasionally check on those and see if I can answer any questions. Let me just see. On YouTube, I see a lot of people joining in already. Hi, everyone. Someone says, please start an e-commerce website making series. We'll definitely focus on creating more e-commerce tutorials, use cases as well. I see a lot of people joining in. And all right, so let's get to it. So let's not waste any time. At the end of this use case live stream, I'll definitely try to make some time to answer some questions. So over here, I have my design. Let me just enter this. So this is design that we'll recreate, and I'm just going to unassign it from my pages really quick so we can start building it from scratch. All right, so if you want to start building your global header, obviously you'll need to go to the theme builder on the left side. So go to Divi, theme builder. Over here we have the default website template, and we can start building. So I'm just going to click on add global header and click on build global header. All right, so in order to make this really responsive, so as you can notice, the global header looks totally different on smaller screen sizes as it does on desktop. So we'll definitely need to make use of Divi's built-in responsive options. So this is also a great tutorial to get to know those options a bit better. So for instance, the background color. So we can modify the background color across different screen sizes, and over here you can notice that it's completely transparent. We have a box shadow, but everything that comes below this navigation shows through, and that's how we want it to be. We don't want any content to be wasted. Anything that comes below this will show through, so that's why we're using a completely transparent background color over here. But that's only the case on desktop. So I'm enabling this responsive option over there, and I'm going to add a white background color on tablet and phone. So when you add it to the tablet option, it automatically adds itself to the phone option as well. So make sure that that's in place, and we'll also go to the sizing settings of our section. As you can notice over here, it sticks to the left side. So the way we've approached this is we've changed the width of our section, and we made sure that the height, minimum height of our section is 100 VH, which means that it will automatically take up the entire height of your viewport. So let's start with let's start with the width, and I'm going to change this into 5 VW, and on tablet and phone, obviously, let me just switch over here. We want it to be the entire width. So let me just try to grab the responsive icon over here. So we have 5 VW on desktop and then 100% on phone. All right. And we're also changing the minimum height as I've mentioned. So this is going to be 100 VW, and we'll just leave it on auto for tablet and phone. So we definitely don't need the global header to take up the entire height of our device on smaller screen sizes. That's why we'll make sure that this says auto over here. And then we'll go to the spacing settings. We're going to modify these values a tiny bit. I'm going to add 2 VW to the top and 2 VW to the bottom. Let me just go to the box shadow as well. I'm just gonna switch back to desktop over here. I'm going to add a custom box shadow. So as you can notice, it's already taking its form, and we're using a box shadow that's responsive as well. So on desktop, we want 32 pixels for the horizontal position, and then 0 pixels for tablet and phone. And then we're using 0 pixels for the spread strength on desktop, but we'll increase it to 19 pixels on tablet and phone. And this is the shadow color that we're using. And if you want to recreate a step-by-step, you can go to the blog post, which I've mentioned in the description below. There you can follow everything step-by-step. But there's also a JSON file that you can upload and use right away. So make sure if you want to use a JSON file that you upload it to your theme builder. Let me just show you guys where you can access that, because I've seen a lot of people ask. So you don't import JSON files to your Divi library. Instead, you go to your theme builder, and over here in the top right corner, you have this icon over here. So you can click on it, go to the import tab, import your JSON file and all of that. All right, on to the next step. We'll need to add a bit of CSS code to the main element, and the only reason we're doing that is to make sure that this stays centered from a vertical view. So if I scroll down, if I scroll over here and change the size of my browser, you can notice that this stays centralized within my section. And to do that, we'll need a few lines of CSS code, and we'll also make sure that it stays fixed to the left side of our browser, as you can notice while I'm scrolling using some CSS code. So I'm just going to grab that code really quick, and again, you can find that in the blog post, which I've mentioned in the description below. I'm going to add that to the main element of my section. And then it's also important to add that same position fixed and top 0 to the hover elements for your sections. So enable this hover option over here and add position fixed and top 0. Next, I'll go to the visibility settings, and to make sure that all of my section content appears on top of the page or post content, we'll need to increase the Z index, and I'm sure this is a very high number for this, but I've noticed that this is just the right number for the global header to not overlap the default WordPress bar at the top, but still stay on top of all of the other content on your website. And I'm also going to enable the hover option on my Z index and make sure that it says the same value as well, so it doesn't flicker when I hover my menu. So that's really important as well. Okay, so once we have these section settings in place, we can start adding our modules. And first, I'm going to add a new row. I'll use one column only. So that's how we'll work. Over here, it might seem like we have 3 columns going on, but what we're basically doing is we're building downwards. Since it's a left, left global header, the only thing we'll transform is this menu module over here in the middle. So before I add any modules, I'm going to open the row settings, go to the design tab, and I'm going to enable the use custom gutter width option, put it to 1. Then I'll go to the spacing settings over here, and I'm going to remove all default top and bottom padding. And as you can notice over here on mobile, we have 3 columns going on. So the way we're approaching this is we're using a grid for that to make this happen on smaller screen sizes. Over here we have 1 column, and to make that grid happen on smaller screen sizes, I'm going to go to the advanced tab over here and enable the responsive option on the main elements. And then I'm going to skip the desktop and go to the tablet part over here and add the following 2 CSS code lines. First one says display grid, the second one says grid template column. So we're basically just dividing our our row into 3 different columns. So actually I have to add this to my column. So let me just revert that here. I'm just going to open my column instead of the row. So very important. I'm going to open the main element of my column instead of my row, and I'm going to divide my column into 3 different columns in my grid. So make sure that you skip the desktop part, go to the tablet over here, and add these 2 lines of CSS code. So we're basically splitting 100% into 3 parts. And once we've done that, we can start adding the modules. All right, so I'm just going to take a quick look, see if you guys have any questions so far. So someone's asking if there's going to be alternative headers for future layout packs. I'm sure the design team is working on new theme builder packs and stuff like that. Definitely headers that you guys will be able to download and use, if that was the question you were asking. All right, so I see people are commenting, but I don't see any questions really. So I'm just going to continue. All right, so over here we have the row and column settings in place. Now we can start adding modules. All right, the first module we'll need is an image module. That's where we'll place our logo in. And let me just select my logo over here. All right, so over here I'm going to go to the sizing settings, and I'm going to modify the width. I'm using for VW on desktop. On tablet, I'm using 12 VW and 16 VW for phone. So you guys, by now, you probably know that I'm a big fan of VW. So what that basically does is it takes the measurements of your viewport width, and it creates a kind of really responsive outcome, depending on, it really doesn't really depend on what kind of screen size people are using. So it really makes your outcome match the viewport width of your visitors. It's also a lot more flexible than the viewport height, which is also a value that's used. So nowadays I really tend to use VW a lot. And I'm also going to transform scale my logo over here, and I'm going to enable the responsive options again. So on smaller screen sizes we don't want it to scale, but on desktop we do. So we're using 170 for both options, and then we're removing it on tablet and phone. Obviously we're not using 0, we're just using 100% for tablet and phone. And we'll also go to the transform translate option, and we're just going to push the logo a bit to the right side by adding 1VW to the bottom option over here, and we're removing that on tablet and phone again by adding just 0VW. All right, let me just double check something really quick before I continue. Just have to check these row settings, and then we can move on to the next module. It seems like everything's fine up until now, which is the menu module. Just have a feeling that I have a lot of space here, not sure why that's happening. Let me just go to my spacing settings. All these settings are as they're supposed to be, so I'm just going to continue. All right. Over here, I'm just going to select my menu, which is that one. All right, so I'll just need to recheck this because that's not how it's supposed to look. Okay, I'm just going to skip that CSS code and add it afterwards to make it match. All right, I'm just going to open this menu module again. So here we have our menu. The next thing we're going to do is, as you notice, there's a background color attached to it. So I'm just going to remove this background color. Then I'll go to the design tab over here. In the layout settings, I'm going to choose centered for the style. We're going to keep the drop-down menu direction there. And I'm going to go to the default menu text settings. So we're just styling this to make it match with the magazine layout pack. So you're free to style this however you want. These are the settings that we're using. So as you can notice, we're working downwards over there. These are the settings that we're using. Again, you can find all of these steps by going to the blog post in the description below. All right, so these are the settings. I'm also changing the menu text color on hover. And then I'll go to the drop-down menu settings. And over here, I'm just going to use black for the drop-down menu line color and for the menu text color as well. Then I'll go to the icon settings, and I'm going to change the hamburger menu icon color too. Moving on, we'll need to add some custom spacing values. So in order to create the rotated menu bar, we're going to need to transform the menu. But before we do that, we'll need to add some negative left margin and negative right margin to our module. So as you can notice over here, it's kind of being dragged outside of the browser, which will change after we add a transform rotate values. So make sure that you add these two values over here and remove them on tablet and phone. So we don't need them on tablet and phone. And then we're going to transform it using the transform options. Over here, I'm going to the transform rotate settings, and I'm going to use 270 degrees. As you can notice, it's transforming. And this allows us kind of to, just transform this module on its own instead of transforming the entire global header and try to push it to the left side. We've just made sure that the width of our section is as much as we want. In this case, I thought it was 5 VW, and we're just rotating that one module. Of course, you can also rotate the image module containing your logo and all of that, but in many cases, it's not exactly what you would want to achieve. Now over here, we're going to make sure that this menu is not transformed on smaller screen sizes by just enabling the responsive option and adding 0 degrees to tablet and phone. And now we can move on to the next and last module, which is the social media follow. So again, you're free to, use whatever kind of modules you want in this side transformed, rotated, however you want to call it, global header. You can place whatever you want, and you can choose whatever you want to rotate. If you want to rotate an element, make sure that you use negative left and right margin enough so it allows the module to expand, and then use the transform rotate option, and also make sure that you modify those things for smaller screen sizes using Divi's responsive options. So over here I'm just going to add 1 or 2. Let me just add Instagram as well, very popular nowadays. And I'm going to reset these item styles with both. So this just gets rid of the default background color that actually matches the social media icon. And then I'm going to go to the design tab over here, and I'm going to change the module alignment. So I'm using center module alignment on desktop, and on tablet and phone I'm using the right alignment. This is actually probably one of my most favorite responsive options, the fact that you can align things differently according to the screen size. Then I'll go to the icon settings. Over here I'm just going to add a black icon color. I'm going to use a custom icon size on VW, so you get the point of it. You can modify these however you want and make it match with the website that you want to go live with. So this is the global header I'm going for, and I'm just going to save this and then preview it. So I'm saving it inside the template editor, and then also the theme builder changes. And over here, we still need to make this fixed. And as you can notice, if you hover this, it flickers because I don't have that CSS code in place. I removed it while I was modifying the design. Let me just add it really quick. So that's actually what I was talking about, adding the position fixed in the top 0 to your section when you've enabled the hover option. So really important. Let me just add it over here. Not sure why this says. Alright, I'm just using these 3 settings over here. Position fixed, top 0, align content center. And then on hover, I make sure that the position is fixed and the top is 0. Let me just save it again and refresh my page over here. So as I scroll down, it stays on the left side. If I hover it, it doesn't flicker or anything at all. And you can basically customize this to make it match with whatever kind of global header you want to go for. You can assign this particular header to a specific, I don't know how to say it, like place on your website, I would say. Like for instance, your pages, your posts. It might be that you don't want to use this on your entire website per se. All right, so let me just take a quick look to see if there's any questions. I see Michael says, every time I try to use the responsive option, it messes with all 3 settings. Like if I go to change mobile, it changes desktop and tablet too. Well, you definitely have to make sure that you're only modifying the mobile version. I know it takes, sometimes you have to switch between tabs, like go back and forth a bit, like just return back to the desktop version and then go back to the mobile until you're like 100% sure that you're working on the mobile and not on the desktop, because it takes a bit of time for the builder to switch between those 3 values. Yeah, Do you guys have any more questions on YouTube? Let me just see the comments on Facebook too, because you guys watched there as well. Someone says, I tried to use Divi, it really was just way too hard. Well, I definitely recommend going through the documentation first. You have to build your way through the different levels, I would say, of Divi and get familiar with it, get familiar with the basics first. I think the documentations are great for that. All right. I see Uncle Social is being very friendly as usual, giving out compliments. Thank you. Thanks a lot. if there's no questions anymore, wait. Are you guys going to be doing SEO tutorials? I think there are a few. Those are more like general WordPress tutorials. What kind of tutorials would you like to see? More specifically, if you guys have any recommendations, also things that you would like to see, definitely, put it in the comment section right now. I'll take note of it. If there's something specific that you want to learn more about or know how to do. You can also comment on the blog post, which I've mentioned in the description below. All right, thanks for that suggestion, Michael. I'll definitely write it down. See what we can do with that. All right, I think we're good for this live stream. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, and we hope that you're enjoying this ongoing Divi design initiative where we try to put something extra into your design toolbox each and every week. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.